What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I just walked outside to get my Dunkin' iced coffee. Shout out Dunkin'. And man, I gotta say the weather outside's kind of torture because it feels like playoff baseball. It's crisp out, it's cool out, typical fall, beautiful morning where I feel like I should be getting ready for a postseason run, which we're not doing. But we're gonna have a good episode today because we got a lot to talk about. How you doing?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful outside. Can't complain about anything. It is a little bit sad because it's like a brisk fall morning and it's my favorite season of the year. And I'm looking forward to the leaves changing colors. But the only thing that's going to be missing is Yankees postseason baseball. But it's fine because I'm going to be in Philly with the
Yo,
Philly
screw
fanatic.
you, bro.
There's
Say this
postseason
for the
baseball
end
in
of
there.
the
So,
show.
yeah,
No.
okay.
Yo, I'll say not everything even is ideal right now outside the Yankees because I keep getting screwed by the NFL. I don't even know if we should get into the New York Jets. That's not what I'm talking about, but I don't believe in jinxes. I jinxed the Jets hard on last episode. Maybe we'll talk about that topic 5. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no,
But
we'll
yo,
talk
I
about
bet
that
I
for
bet
sure.
on the Eagles spread last night, -6.5. They're up like I think it was like by 14 points. I'm chilling in the fourth quarter. I'm like, yo, word. I had a bet in that if I make this, I'm going to be clear out of the debt, all the debt I have in the NFL season so far. And then, of course, the Vikings end up scoring like a last-minute touchdown. My bet gets screwed. So I keep losing money, Pat. The NFL has done nothing but screwed me up the ass this season in every way possible.
Oh,
And so
okay.
have the
No,
Yankees, man. But hell, let's talk about
No,
that.
we have a really fun episode today. A lot of fun topics to talk about. Before we do that, though, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, FOCO, FOCO. Save 15% off your purchase with code Yankees Avenue. Me and Dan got these friendship bracelets going on. We'll show you guys some other stuff later. But also before we get into topic number one, I do want to address the fact that we didn't plan to match today, but we're matching. We both have like the Yankee jerseys on. Can I show you what's on the
Yeah,
back of
please.
mine?
Because
All
you
right,
don't
ready?
wear jerseys all that
No, I
often.
don't. Can you see it?
Oh,
Yeah, no, it
word.
says Captain 99. It's really
That's
fucking
sick as hell.
sick.
Where did you get that?
Yankee Stadium. I saw
Oh, get
it.
out.
It was like $50 for a jersey, but I was like, yo, it says Captain. Like, where else are you finding this?
Yeah, yo,
Who's on the back of yours?
I think LeMahieu. Is that who?
Oh,
LeMahieu. Well, I have like a jersey for pretty much every player. Well, at least
oh,
before the baby bombers. Yo, speaking of captain, real quick, I gotta say, and we'll talk about him today. Oswald Peraza. I love this post. What's up, Cap? And then Judge comments, you know what's up? It's cool. I like people referring to Judge as captain. And that was a nice grand slam.
sure. Let's
Speaking
talk
of.
about that Boston series a little bit. For topic number one, the Yankees took 3 out of 4 from the Red Sox in Boston. They're now tied with them for fourth place. The Yankees have risen from the ashes of last place. They both have a 74 and 73 record, nothing to write home about. But one thing that kind of pops in my head from this 4-game set, which felt like it was going to be worth a little bit more, especially for the Yankees in the month of September, it's not. And that's why I'm kind of looking at the current state of the Yankees and Red Sox rivalry, because at least the past 2 years anyway, it hasn't really felt like it's been noteworthy, probably since 2021, right? And before that, since 2018, where both teams were good at the same time. It felt like there was some sort of bad blood between the Yankees and Red Sox. It doesn't have those vibes anymore. It's a little bit upsetting because we're looking at one of the biggest rivalries in sports when it's at its peak, right? Like it's
That is
right up there.
number one.
No, I know. Like if you look at rankings or whatever, ESPN, whoever wants to rank them, Yankees, Red Sox is always towards the top of the list, and it's upsetting that we haven't really gotten those vibes lately. So while the Yankees did take 3 out of 4, and I guess it was a good series, it still doesn't have that same impact to me as it might have used to, right?
Yeah, no, totally not. And I mean, obviously, the reason we go at it with this approach and this topic is like there's really not much to talk about with the outcome of the series. I mean, this was basically the toilet bowl. Yeah, we're both 74 and 73, tied for fourth place in the AL East. Yo, I mean, I would even push back a little bit on the 2018 comparison because I feel like even then it was not, while the teams were good, it was not a hateable rivalry. There was no like clear cut guys on either team that like the opposing clubhouses hated or that there was legit beef or drama between, which is very different than how it was, like, say, in the early 2000s, which, I mean, I didn't really start watching until like 2011, but like even then, I mean, you had David Ortiz, A-Rod was still in the Yankees. So like there's still kind of like, some of that history was still there. But I'm thinking about it, I've never truly experienced the full, like, hardcore hatred of Yankees Red Sox. It's more so feels like a thing where I'm supposed to feel it, and I have at times. But the peak is probably, I mean, Tyler Austin and Joe Kelly in 2018, which, I mean, even that wasn't I mean, I've said it before, but like I feel like that was a lot more of like Tyler Austin versus Joe Kelly rather than like Yankees versus Red Sox. So I mean,
Yeah.
like even watching this series and you see Fox hype it up, you see well, I guess the other three were on Yes and Amazon Prime, but like whether it's on ESPN or whatever it may be, MLB Network talking about it, the rivalry's kind of forced these days. And I think
I was going to use that exact word. Yeah.
a lot of people have come to realize that, especially with like there has been rivalries that we've been a part of. We know what it really feels like to hate another team, whether that's like Houston, the Rays, or like me with Toronto, I despise. Like, if you rank the hatred I have for another team, the Red Sox probably out of the ones I just named are probably fourth on that list, at least in my era of watching. Because besides 2018 and 2021 were like big deals and like they owned us. So I'm not trying to like, diminish that. But like in terms of pure hatred, like it's not there anymore. I don't really think like this was just another series, especially with how bad these two teams are right now. I mean, how could you get excited for this series, especially when there's two double headers too? By the way, I don't know how you work around it. I don't know how you fix it. Double headers on the weekdays, they got to stop. I know
No, it's
it has to stop. I can't do it. Two of them in 3 days, bro. Not
yeah, especially during the week. Like if it's on like a Saturday or Sunday, like maybe I could get behind it.
borderline day.
But no, it's bad. Like, and I think that's also why I found myself like not really watching much of this series because what like do I really want to sit back and watch like Yankees Red Sox in a meaningless game in the middle of a Wednesday afternoon? You know,
The
like
games
let's just.
especially are tough. That
I
it's
know.
like Jimmy had a great tweet. I think it was like the day game on a Thursday, but it was like the lineup was so spring training, and it was like this looks like
I'm like Michael King's on the mound.
it was like this is like a Yankees like grapefruit league spring training game where they hop on the bus and Judge decides to go with the kids, and Glaber accidentally was on the wrong sheet, so he's going too. But besides that, you have like every kid starting. Yeah, Michael. A lot of it has to do with also the state of the teams, of course. But like my point is more so like even when the teams are good, it's the rivalry, just that juice that we always hear and talk about, which once again I experienced a little bit like on the remnants of the old teams, but it's nowhere near early 2000s, not even close.
No, no, not at all. But I think also it's different for us as Yankee fans because back then it kind of felt like, yo, we just own the Red Sox, bro. Like every single season, like we're winning the World Series, they're not. And the tide has shifted over the past 10 years. I know you might disagree, but I would say in the past 10 years, I find myself having respect for the Boston Red Sox. And it's to the point where I think that they might even be a rung higher than us as far as organizational standards go. And that's simply because over the past 10 years, they have 2 World Series and we have 0. So there has to be some sort of like tip your cap to them because they've had more playoff success in the past 10 years than we have. And it's just as simple as that. And going back to what I said before, it's also a result of in the past 10 years, we've seen them in the postseason twice, and one of them was for one wild card game. So it's like very rarely are the Yankees and Red Sox even good in the same season, you know? So
Yeah.
I like it just what happened. It's what happens sometimes.
Well, because a lot of it's, I mean, when the Red Sox are good, it seems they win the World Series. I mean, at 2013,
Yeah.
at 2018, then 2021's the outlier there. But besides that, it seems
They
they're
still
all
made a run in
place. It's
2021.
no, they did. But what I'm saying is like oftentimes when they're good, at least in the last 10 years or so, they win it all. But when they're not good, they're in last place. And that kind of seems to coincide like when we're good a lot of the times and we don't win the World Series. So I mean, like, obviously
Also, wait.
Red Sox fans, what's up?
I know I don't want to sit here and say like the rivalry hasn't really felt like any animosity since Joe Kelly, Tyler Austin 2018 because I'm like reflecting on that 2021 season real quick. And especially I look back at like towards the end of the year when we had that series against them and
Yeah.
the Red Sox were on that insane winning streak and they were like, yo, we're still wearing our yellow jerseys because like that's our power to victory.
Speculation.
Bro, we pissed on their parade. And also, we can't sit and act like, oh, the Red Sox haven't had any dislikable players in the past few years. Like, let's not forget 2021. I mean, Alex Verdugo, I despised him. Kyle Schwarber, I despised him. Rafael Devers, Yankee killer.
He's not,
Kike
bro.
Hernandez,
It's so like, dude, that's a perfect example.
Christian Vasquez. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, no, I know, but it almost like, bro, it kind of like the way I feel like I have to like kind of make myself hate those players. I have to pick them and be like, okay, this is a hateable player, so I'm gonna hate them. Like it's not a true like Emmanuel Ramirez or David Ortiz or Jason Varitek. Like a lot of the guys that they had on that older team, which like even that 2021 season, I mean, it had very little to do actually with the fact that I mean it's nice. It's the Boston Red Sox where the Yankees catching them in what was it, a 10-game lead. Like that was sick. But that would have been sick with any team. It wasn't because it was Yankees, Red Sox. If it were the Blue Jays that we called, or the Rays that we called, or the Orioles that we called, like that's really what made it sick. Not like
No, sure.
there wasn't like the true bad blood of this team, which is like, by the way, like is fine. Like it's not like you don't run your organization or build up your organization to make so the Yankees Red Sox rivalry is, at its peak. But it just seems like, yeah, no, I mean, kind of my whole point is it's a little bit forced these days. It certainly is. And the fact that we're both in like the bottom of the AL East right now, like puts it at a head, especially like, I feel like this topic like comes from just watching the Fox game on Thursday night and seeing like they talk it up as a big rivalry, like they make it still a big thing.
Forced.
Like they run the Babe Ruth graphic, like they run like the 2004 collapse and all this shit, which is like it's fine. It's a national broadcast. I get that's what you do, but like when you're watching this team day in and day out, like like this shit ain't really real no more. It might be soon, like once they're good again, like and I mean that's obviously a big factor. Like I'm not saying it's not. Like, you have to both be good, but there's more to it than that. Like the real, true Yankee Red Sox rivalries come from hatred, not just contending with each other. It comes from pure hatred. Like the 70s teams fucking hated each other. I mean, like they wanted to beat each other's ass after the games. I mean, the early 2000s, I mean, like Pedro Martinez was starting to fucking throw a pitch right at Jorge Posada's head, like throwing
Which, by the way, I mean,
everything about it. I mean, it was iconic.
No, I don't know if this is bad to say, but like Don Zimmer kind of deserved it, bro.
Yeah, it's you can't blame Pedro for it.
No, you can't.
You would like to think
I probably would have done the same thing.
Well, going off my memory of a replay, I obviously didn't see it live, but like it was very much like Don Zimmer's fucking old ass. All due respect, R.I.P. Love you, Don Zimmer. He's like running out, charging at Pedro. Pedro looks to the side, he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And like tossing the trash like yesterday's garbage. Like it was kind of like a natural reaction. I don't think really many people would blame Don Zimmer for that. But
okay, I'm thinking of like me in that situation. Maybe if like an old man is charging at me, maybe I'm not like grabbing his head and slamming it on the floor. Maybe I'm giving him like a shove.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, but also like Pedro didn't get much of the benefit of the doubt there because like he's always kind of been, and I love Pedro. I think he's like the most impressive fucking pitcher. Having seasons where you have like an ERA in like the ones or like low twos during the steroid era is unfathomable to me. Shout out Pedro Martinez, you're the GOAT. You're cool. I don't want to call you the GOAT, but in that same game, what I just said was like he literally was threatening to throw at Jorge Posada's head. Like that's like a clip of the there's like this Yankees Red Sox documentary, and I always remember what Tim McCarver was saying. He was like reliving Pedro Martinez. He's like he's not saying to use your head. He's not saying to use your head. He's saying I'll hit you in the head, and it was like pointing right at Jorge Posada. Like, dude, even right now I'm getting kind of like it was so different back then, bro. I would have loved to. I mean. Not necessarily. Thank God I didn't really have a conscience in 2004. But like before that, like to be able to experience that true rivalry, I mean, out of anything in sports, we can agree, like that is a sports rivalry at its peak. What the Yankees and Red Sox were in the early 2000s. And now it's nowhere really even close to that. It's kind of, yeah.
Last thing I do want to say on just the current state of Yankees Red Sox is I do think like we see organizational differences between the two where the Yankees seem like they're a little bit stuck in their ways. And I think that's kind of prevented them from taking that next step, while the Red Sox are willing to take more risky moves, like just firing Chaim Bloom, their GM, after just a few years. Like it shows that they're much less complacent than the Yankees are, for better or for worse, while the Yankees are sticking with Brian Cashman for 20 plus years. So
yes, yes, I know what you're saying. I don't think it shows, like, I don't think the Red Sox are that well run of an organization. I mean, the Chaim Bloom firing, I mean, it goes back to Dave Dombrowski going all in on 2018, and that's what they do. I mean, his payroll was fucking insane. It was like, I believe it was like upwards of over 250 million. It was crazy. He went all in, and hey, it worked. Like, shout out to you. You won the World Series. Chaim Bloom was then brought in to basically fix that. And what did he do? He top 5 farm system the Red Sox have right now. He lowered payroll. Well, I don't say he lowered payroll. And this is the thing I want to, be fair to him about. It's like, yo, of course the Red Sox are going to be a worse team because you're a big market team that has significantly reduced your spending. And what's the result of that? You've only had one playoff appearance in his tenure, and after 4 years, he's gone. I kind of feel bad for Chaim Bloom, but I feel like, in a way, bringing him on and like the mindset of, oh, we're going to take a Rays guy and try to like bring that into Boston, make that work. I think that was stupid from the get-go. Like, any team that tries to, that's a big market team that tries to act like they're not. I think you're just setting yourself on the wrong foot, period. But yeah, I think, and this goes back to just in general what the Yankees' problem is, and where Brian Cashman is like a big issue, is he's so obsessed with like stability and like consistency of, the above 500 record, making the playoffs, giving yourself a chance every year, which has its place, but not with the New York Yankees. That's something that I think would work. Like if Brian Cashman's the GM in Pittsburgh doing this, like, if in Pittsburgh 74 and 73 was your worst season in forever, like that would be dope. But with the Yankees, that just flat out doesn't work. On the Red Sox side of things, and I would probably like you would choose the life of a Red Sox fan over the last decade of all right, even though you're bottoming it out every other year, finishing in last place, you have 2 World Series. The Yankees have
Well, you
none.
would as well, right?
Yeah. No, I mean
Yeah.
ultimately, like if I were to like, but it's so weird though, dude, because like I would take the last 10 years of being a Red Sox fan. Yes, I would pick that button. But for the next 10 years, just going off that trajectory of like, all right, you're
Good
bottoming it every
question.
year, and you have a chance of maybe 1 year going all in and winning a World Series, which that's, there's a reason to want that. But with that said, like every year, and this isn't like that much to, like celebrate the Yankees. If you end up not winning in the end, it doesn't mean shit. So I'm not like giving Cashman credit for this, but like every year we know like we're gonna ultimately like have a chance of like making the playoffs and like we'll be a contending team. Boston, that's really not the case. But with that said, they've won more World Series than us. So like I don't
Yeah.
know, kind of what
No,
would you 10 years? Who would you rather be a fan of?
yeah, no, it's a really good question. And I think I'll still stick with being a Yankee fan for the next 10 years. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if in the next 10 years the Red Sox win 3 more World Series and the Yankees win zero,
Yeah, it's tough too because
Because every time we start to think the Red Sox are like in the gutter,
true.
they'll come
Very
out next season and they'll win the World Series out of
very
nowhere.
true. That's very true. And it also you don't really know exactly. I mean, they just fired behind Bloom, so like everything could be totally like what we're talking about right now with like how the Red Sox are run. Like that could be
Yeah.
totally different the next 10 years. And by the way, we're not actually discussing like where we're gonna take our fandom. We are fucking fans.
Because I'm going to Philly,
Yeah,
bro.
yo, it's like we're like LeBron or some shit. Like we're to stay in New York or we're gonna take our talents to Boston. But yeah, I think just to like, finish this up, like the rivalry is not what it used to be, and that's obvious. Like everybody knows that, whether you're a Yankee fan, Red Sox fan, or a fucking Cleveland Guardians fan. Shout out Chris Rose.
Topic number two, talk about the Yankees Red Sox a little bit more. Rumors surfaced on Thursday afternoon. Pretty ironic. It was right after the Heim Bloom firing. I guess he's sending out some leaks before he officially leaves. But apparently, the Yankees discussed a trade with the Red Sox that would have sent Alex Verdugo to the Yankees and Clarke Schmidt to the Red Sox. Would you have wanted it to go down? Because I guess it's kind of like there's definitely pros and cons, but I want to hear what you would do.
Dude, there's no chance. And I mean, this would have been a real bad, but I'm curious how far this actually got. But yo, I mean, here's the thing with Verdugo. Like, I don't think he's a bad player per se. Definitely not worth trading Mookie Betts for. But like, I mean, he has a 105 WRC plus this year. He's only under control through the 2024 season. Clarke Schmidt, while I don't love him, he's been unfortunately, probably could call him one of the bright spots this season with like his 4.5 ERA. Schmidt's been solid. He's under control for another, I think, 3 years after this season. So no, there's no chance I would have done this deal. And I'm very curious how far this actually got. I will say though, Alex Verdugo in pinstripes would have been very interesting, especially him having to shave the beard. I could not possibly imagine agreeing to this trade.
Yeah. I look at it and at first glance, I'm like, yeah, the Yankees could definitely use Verdugo's bat because I think that his bat definitely has a lot of upside in New York, especially being like the left-handed hitter that he is. I definitely think like the potential there is for an over 800 OPS every season. But then again, I think about it a little bit more, and Alex Verdugo is the poster child for everything I don't like about the current state of the Yankees. Right? I think that he's like the lazy, uh, questionable, ethical player. Right? Where it's kind of like a Josh Donaldson thing. I get Josh Donaldson vibes from Alex Verdugo, where I don't think that he would be a great presence in the clubhouse. And I think that he's the type of player that I want the Yankees to kind of stay away from moving forward because it feels like we've had so many clubhouse nuisances over the past couple of years where I don't know if the offense that you'd be getting and giving away Clarke Schmidt would even be worth it at that point.
No,
But yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting idea though. And I think that if it's any other player besides Verdugo, like I do think Clarke Schmidt is expendable. We're looking at a
sure.
guy who best case scenario is like your fourth or fifth starter. And if you could deal him in the offseason, maybe for somebody who can be an impact bat in the outfield, not Alex Verdugo per se, but somebody who can make an impact in the Yankees outfield in 2024, I'm pulling the trigger 10 times out of 10.
Yo, no, I'm with you. Clark is definitely available, and I think we maybe could see him possibly on the move this winter if the Yankees do sign a couple arms. Not for Verdugo though, and I will push back a little bit. I don't think Verdugo's personality per se. I mean, he has the look of a true Red Sox, like I was just saying. But as for his personality, the main thing I know about him is that he hates Alek Manoah. Which how about him, by the way?
Yeah,
Manoah going
wild.
completely MIA. What the fuck is happening to
Calling
him?
it Chapman.
Fine by me, yo. No problem with that. Dude's a bum. But I haven't heard anything actually bad about Verdugo. It just comes down, as it always does, simply for me, for the most part, how good of a player are you? And Alex Verdugo right now is a 105
Well, no,
WRC
there's
plus hitter.
definitely been some things about Verdugo.
Has there been?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll take your word for it, and
Well,
I'll look
also like
at
on
that.
the field stuff as well. Like there's been a few things off the field, but on the field, like obviously he had that whole thing at Yankee Stadium where he's like trying to jump in the crowd to fight a fan. Like,
I guess so. Yeah. See, I actually kind of forgot about that a little bit, but I'm more just saying like that regardless. It just comes down to would I trade Clarke Schmidt, who, by the way, actually has 4 more years after this season. He's a free agent going to
wow.
2028. So Clarke Schmidt, I mean, the control on him is ridiculous compared to what you have in Verdugo just through next year. He's just not good enough for them to make this trade. And it's more so a topic conversation, just the fact of that this was being discussed. The
Yeah.
Yankees press like that. That would be their most significant trade in, I mean, shit, I don't want to say since Babe Ruth. I'm not exactly, sure what came before this, but like the last one I remember was like them getting Steven Drew in 2014.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that in terms of significance, it would have been very high up there, but not a move I would have made now.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't have either. But I do think that it's interesting to see that the Yankees are willing to shop Clarke Schmidt. And this was during the trade deadline they were
Yes.
discussing this.
Apparently.
Oh,
Yep. Yeah.
well, it happens. Before we get into topic number 3, want to give a huge shout out to FOCO. Use code Yankees Avenue at checkout, save 15% off your purchase. You might be wondering, Pat and Dan are looking real friendshipy today with their matching bracelets on. Dan, you want to tell them where we got them from?
There's a couple things I got to tell him, but yes, these are courtesy of FOCO. And I'm not much of a bracelet guy, but yo, when I put this on the floor, I legit said to you off camera, I was like, yo, these are actually kind of fire. I might wear them. I'm a big fan of the simple Yankee logo. I've talked about this before, and I have something else to say. I love just how, like, kind of like how tiny it is to represent your team. Yo, you know how I always say I don't like to leave the house without wearing a Yankee logo somewhere. This is like the cheat code for that. Like, even if I'm
Yep.
wearing a suit or some shit, if I'm all dapped out, like in formal wear, and I need to have a Yankee logo on me somewhere, slip one of these bad boys on. And they come in pairs, or actually, this package came with 3. So you can give it to a buddy, a couple buddies if you want to. And speaking of that, I got to shout out my buddy because he finally came through with the shorts. Brand new, baby. We got the Yankee logo right here. We got the nice knit cloth. We got the beautiful comfortness, and I'm going to wear these all day today, including going to the gym later, which means I'm going to have a good-ass workout because when you look good, you feel good. And that's what I'm all about. I appreciate it, Pat. You finally came through for me. Code Yankees
Yeah.
Avenue, 15% off. I now have 2 pairs of these. You also got some cool bobbleheads. There's some Crocs you can go out and get, wall art, a bunch of different stuff. And if for some reason you're still watching New York football, they got Giants and Jets stuff as well. How are you? Yo, real quick, did you watch the game on Monday night with the Jets?
I did. I was going all in. I got chills when Aaron Rodgers ran out with the American flag. It was amazing pregame. And then I decided like 5 minutes in, I said, wow, I'm no longer a Jets fan. So I'd like to officially announce that I am no longer a Jets fan. I am hopping off the bandwagon, and I'd like to bring my talents back to the New York Giants. So
Well, they're not
that's where
doing
I'm
too
currently
great
standing.
either, but you are officially revoked as a Jets fan and you are not
Thank you.
welcome back. I will let you know
Thank
that.
you.
I'll
Yep.
say this, yo, I was having such a good time watching that game. I was at Applebee's, I was with a couple of my dogs, having a couple sangrias, which I don't usually drink, but I was chilling. And even though Rodgers went out, I was still thinking like, all right, maybe he'll be out 4 weeks, he'll come back. Like I was still doing all right. And it was a good game, won some money, one of the few NFL bets I've won this year. But boy, when I got home, bro, and I saw ruptured Achilles, and then you see the video of it actually happening. You see the ruptured Achilles video,
You
like
could see it snap, bro.
horrible. It's the most like prototypical like Jets gonna jet type thing. It's the closest I'll ever feel to like being a Mets fan. To where like, I mean, not that things are great in Yankee land either, but we always hear about the Mets, like, oh, they get all their hopes up, and then like Mets gonna Met,
Yeah.
shit, just bad shit always happens. That's kind of the case period with New York sports right now. We're cursed. I mean it. I think I said it
I hope
last
he
week.
comes
We are
back.
legitimately cursed. I mean, he says he's going to, the journey's not over, but even so, I mean, he'll be a 1-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles tear.
Yeah.
That's rough. And I'm not saying the Jets season is over. I like to say I believe in Zach Wilson. The team around him is still really good. But you go from, I hate this, you go from being like legit Super Bowl contenders to like the little engine that could feel good story. If they get into the playoffs now, it's like, oh, wow, what a ride. They faced adversity and powered through. Like, I hate that shit. That's
Yeah.
peasant shit. That's like, I don't want that. I don't want no next man up crap. I want to, like, for once be a superpower team and actually get the job done, or at least get close to getting the job done. And just constantly, we're cock teased. I mean, what did I say last week? I think I said since Jeter's ankle, I believe, we are the most cock teased sports market, blue balled sports market there is. I mean,
I
how
think
many
that's
times
fair.
have we gotten our hopes up just to get not them just brought down a little bit, but be like throat punched in the gut, knocked down on our feet, and like humbled very
Yeah.
quickly.
New York
Both
sports are a joke. So hopefully the tides could change next year, but doesn't look too good right now. Let's get into topic number 3. Let's talk about Oswald Peraza a little bit. He ripped his first home run of the season on Thursday night, 2-run bomb over the Green Monster. I don't know if you realize this, but his swing is a little interesting, especially on that home run too. Like not something
nice.
I've ever really seen before. But I'm looking at 2024, and Oswald Peraza is just one of those guys that we've discussed for so long where if the Yankees don't have a space for him to play every single day at the big league level, I want to see him traded. And I hope that they don't wait too long to where his value completely is depleted before they do so. And then he's just like, like non-tendered, whatever, then you lose him for nothing. But I'm looking at opening day 2024, and the Yankees infield is probably looking like DJ LeMahieu at third base, Anthony Volpe at shortstop, Gleyber Torres at second, and Anthony Rizzo at first. So then that leaves Oswald Peraza kind of on the outside looking in, maybe starting the season in AAA unless there's any injuries or whatever. But where do you see Oswald Peraza's job entering 2024?
Yeah, so I'm with you on if he's not going to be starting, you have to trade him, especially, he's raking in September, 15 for 44, batting 341, 137 WRC plus. Yeah, that first homer we saw yesterday, that was a nuke. And his swing is actually very nice. And I'm not one to comment on swing mechanics too often, but it's a very nice level swing. Even my eyes can recognize, like,
It's visually pleasing.
it is. No, it's a swing that you look at and you're like, okay, I could see that playing in the big leagues. I mean, compared to Volpe's, like I would say he has a nicer swing than Volpe right now. And like that's something I try to remind myself was like, like this dude, like when you see these prospects do well, especially one that was as highly touted as Peraza, like it's very easy to click my mind, like, like this guy's supposed to be good. So like I will allow myself to buy in a little bit. And yeah, he's hitting well in September. You know who's not hitting well in September, or not great. I mean, he's still taking the above league average at a 104 WRC plus, but DJ not slumping per se, but he's at a 227 average this month, 306 OBP. And what were we talking about a couple weeks ago? It was, DJ's hit back to hitting, kind of cemented, third base next year. That's what we're looking at. I'm curious if the Yankees would do some sort of platoon with the two, or even if you were to go into spring training, possibly with a competition at third base, because I still love the idea of DJ LeMahieu off the bench. Something I've preached for years, and this wouldn't fix it, but it would certainly help. The great Yankees teams, whether it's of the 90s or 2009, or even some of the teams that didn't win that were still a very good, stable product, the benches were good. If you had DJ LeMahieu, a good DJ LeMahieu, of course, I mean, if he's shit in the bed, it means nothing. But I think if you had a productive DJ LeMahieu off the bench, that could be kind of like the start of formulating a good, like, non-starting four that, or at least starting three outs of the backup catcher that, like, is important to a winning baseball team. So if you were to keep Peraza, even if he's not like cemented at a starting job at third base going into the year, you can't keep manipulating him. Like, you got to at least give him, like, even if he's not starting every single day at third base, would have to be playing somewhere 4 or 5 times a week, or else you're going to continue to kill his value. So either trade him this offseason or give him some sort of legitimate role going into next year. And you have to decide, is this guy good enough for that? I mean, the Yankees, they always say, scout your players more than scouting other players. You got to, like, how much you truly believe in this guy. If you believe in Oswald Peraza, give him a chance next year, but not one where it's like, all right, if he bets 200 in spring training, he's back down in AAA. At that point, you should just trade him in the offseason. So I'm saying, like, if you're keeping him at the very minimum, you got to have him start 4 or 5 times a week, which the defense is phenomenal. If he starts to hit, I mean, he could be a real damn good player. So I'm like cautiously excited about Oswald Peraza because I know I get hyped about prospects when they play well. But yeah, I mean, he could have a role next year and I'd be excited about it. But if not, you trade him.
Yeah, no, I would agree 1,000%. And I think the DJ LeMahieu conversation becomes interesting, right? Because in a perfect world, he is your like utility guy off the bench, especially because
Right.
going into next season, like we don't know if Rizzo's going to play every day at first base. So DJ like spends a little time at first base, spends a little time at second base, spends a little time at third base, and that would be the ideal role. And that's
the
what
original DJ LeMahieu role. Yes.
Yeah, that's what they originally signed him as before he became like a MVP candidate in 2019, 2020.
Yeah, what a dick.
Dude, insane. But yeah, I think that's the ideal scenario. I think it just becomes very difficult because I can't see the Yankees taking DJ LeMahieu and looking at his contract and being like, yo, you're a utility guy off the bench. I think as long as DJ LeMahieu's healthy, I think he's probably starting every day, especially, I don't know, the Yankees really, really think that there's potential for him to like return to that guy one day. And I don't think that there is. I think what we've witnessed the past like 3 seasons at this point, take injuries away, I think numbers wise, that's the DJ LeMahieu we're gonna get like year in, year out. And
Well, to
it's
be
not a
fair, what about since
horrible
the
player.
All-Star break, though? I mean, I know
I know,
September
but
he's
like
fallen off a little
hot
bit,
and
but
cold, like
yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of he definitely wasn't he's not going to be as good as he was in August. He's not going to be as bad as he was in May and June. It's just a matter of like, is
is it
he?
fair though to say that like you take his stats from 2021, 2022, and 2023, average them out, and that's the DJ LeMahieu that we can
Oh,
expect?
see, it's so hard. I wish it were that easy, but it's just like not when you break it down. Because I know what you mean. I think it's like a fair take a lot of the times. But like with DJ, I mean, 2021, you chalk it up, sports hernia. Dude was in apparently horrible pain. That played a part. 2022, he comes back healthy. He's the Yankees' second best hitter behind Aaron Judge through July. August comes, he hurts the toe. He's abysmal. Next 2 months. Well, hold on. I'm breaking it down. This is how it works. He was great 4 months last year. 2022 gets hurt. He's terrible. 2023, apparently he's still dealing with the after effects, not of pain, but having altered his swing to like kind of give a little bit to that pain that he had. Finally gets past that, works with Sean Casey, and it clicks. He's hitting like the cover off the ball. So I mean, like, it's so much more complex than just averaging these 3 years and saying like, yo, this dude just been bad. Like there's factors that go into it. Now, with that said, what's like the name of the game here? What we're talking about these last 3 years, injuries. So that is something you could predict. Like, yo, can we rely on DJ LeMahieu to be able to stay healthy, to be able to like not have these nagging injuries that affect his swing? That's a valid conversation to have. I think regardless, now the dude is what, 34 years old? 34 years old with shit. I mean, he still has 3 years left in this contract, but only 15 million a year. That's not that crazy. I think the Yankees would be willing to put him on the bench in that rover role. Because that's still, dude, I mean, the role we're talking about right now, he's still going to play over 100 games. I mean, that's why I say
Yeah.
you could play Oswald Peraza 4 or 5 times a week at third base, and you could also play him around, whatever you want to do. But I say that because yeah, DJ will play maybe a game or two at third, spell Rizzo a day at first base, we need Glaber. I mean, what you said, I mean, that still gets him a lot of playing time. So if you want to like talk about the money conversation, like getting your money's worth, playing over 100 games is still, in my opinion, a fine enough role for DJ.
Yeah, and I think the whole thing is going into 2024. If Oswald Peraza is on the Yankees roster and they don't find a way to deal him to improve the roster in other places, whether that's like getting a starting pitcher or an outfielder or something, there's no reason this man should be in AAA to start the year. So as long as he's still on the 40-man roster, he's my starting third baseman. And I saw someone say on Twitter, I don't know who, but I'm sure quite a few people have said this, that I'd like to see Peraza get the same leash that Anthony Volpe got. Because I think a lot of people
Yeah.
were giving up on Peraza so soon in such a small sample size, being shifted up and down on so many different occasions. And now this feels like the first time maybe ever, where we're seeing like consistent at bats from Peraza, and we're seeing success as a result. And it's very nice to see that September he's really been a different guy with the bat. And Peraza's bat was never something that was really highly touted as a prospect coming up. It was really he's a defense first infielder, right?
Yeah.
And with the bat, you're kind of gonna get what you're gonna get. But if he could give the Yankees something offensively at third base, like especially what we've seen as of late, I want to see him as my starting third baseman going into next year. And if he struggles a little bit, he struggles a little bit, but he might be your guy. So I want to see what you can get for him
Yeah,
from
no,
him.
the only concern like with the whole DJ thing is like what we were worried about with Clint Frazier in 2021 and like some prospects in the past is like, yo, if you're gonna have this guy play, you got to have him play. Like the leash
Yeah.
can't be 2 weeks long,
I
or
mean, look at
struggles to
Florial,
begin
bro.
April. Yeah, which hey, I mean, he had a nice game tying RBI knock in the series. Shout out Florial. But yo, like yeah, no, you can't be like, okay, you're gonna keep Peraza, start him at third base 2024. First 2 weeks he struggles, and then take him out. DJ's your everyday guy. It's like no, like
Yeah.
same way. I'm glad you brought that up. Same way you stuck with Volpe, you got to stick with Peraza, who, I mean, like the prospect list, like they're not on there anymore. But like remember, like Peraza was right up there with Volpe, so it's not like he's just some bum. Like no, this dude was a top prospect, and if you believe in him, like all right, yo, give him a run.
Yeah. But also, like going back to Clint Frazier, I think that's something that really hurt Clint Frazier, especially
Yeah.
like 2020. Like it seemed like Clint Frazier would have a bad week. Bang, he lost his starting job to Brett Gardner.
I mean,
And I think
2021, he was like by game 3, it's like it felt like he
no,
was
no,
starting.
exactly.
Yeah.
So going into 2021 after a pretty good 2020, like Clint Frazier should have been the Yankees starting left fielder, right? For quite a few months to start the season and give him like the Volpe leash, unless he was really bad. But it
Which
seemed
he
like
was, but
after No. I would say probably by the end of April, beginning May, he lost his starting job to
Oh,
Gardner.
dude, no, it was. Here's the thing. Like, let me first say, Clint Frazier was awful, and he did not deserve to eventually ultimately keep that job. But from the get go, the plan was off. I mean, they named finally Clint Frazier starting left fielder for 2021, and I'm not kidding, bro. I believe maybe by game 4 at the latest, like they were already
Yes.
starting Brett Gardner, and I think maybe even back to back days, or there was some weird shit going on where it was like, all right, how much do you actually believe in this dude? So like that's my only request to the Yankees. Like, yo, you think Peraza is the guy, you're going to give him a chance. Like, give him a legitimate chance. Give him 3 straight months at the minimum of, yo, you're going to get your 300 bats to prove something. And at that point, if you're not hitting after like 3 months in, like, I'm not going to blame the Yankees for, okay, if you want to cut bait then. But yeah, like, go all in if you're going to go all in. I
Have
would
we
say,
seen any other like top prospects besides Volpe get that leash? I'm trying to think.
see, the thing is, it's tough to have this conversation because oftentimes Yankee prospects do get out the gate hot. So, like, a lot of times, I mean, like, Judge, you can't use him as an example because he was up for what 3 weeks in 16, then got hurt, and that wasn't really
Yeah.
weird. The season was already done, and then he came out the gate hot in 17. Gary was hot right out the gate. Glaber was hot right out the gate. Andujar was hot right out the gate. I mean, not really. I mean,
I'm really just looking at Florial. Like, bro,
it's
like
pretty much Florial, which
yeah, when I look at Esteban Florial, the only thing that kind of pops into my mind, two words, poor bastard, bro. Like I really feel bad for Esteban Florial because we're looking at a guy who probably in any other organization, like he's getting opportunities at the big league level, especially like the way he has dominated AAA over the past couple of years. And he comes up and I've never seen a guy go up and down more than Florial.
well, here's the thing with Florial. Like, it's kind of I still put the middle ground a little bit where it's like, yo, Florial is not a perfect prospect. He has not panned out the way, like, he was once the number 1 guy on the chart. He hasn't panned out perfectly while still having good years in AAA. And this year he has been going off, but struggling lately. There's still flaws in his game. I mean, like, there's like the K rate is ridiculously high. And like, there's parts of his games that aren't perfect and not perfectly polished. But with that said, the people who act like Florial ever got a fair run in MLB are ridiculous. I mean, did he ever get like 2 straight weeks? I don't even know if he got like a week and a half. Like maybe
I know.
2021, there was 1 week straight of him playing, but people will take that and be like, oh, he had his chance and he blew it. Like, dog, he had 40 at bats.
Well, that's what I'm
I don't
saying.
think Florial is like a Hall of Fame center fielder or nothing, but don't tell me he had his run, his chance in MLB because he didn't. And he's probably like, this is the last time we'll probably see Florial. I mean, I doubt he's back on the roster.
I agree.
Because the Yankees have some serious 40-man decisions they'll have to make this winter. And I'm almost positive Florial will probably just be non-tendered in the offseason.
Yeah, but also on the Florial thing, like when we're talking about him not really getting a fair chance, let's look at the Yankees outfield situation over the past 2 years and the guys they decided to go with over him, right? Like we looked at an outfield this year that played Willie Calhoun, Billy McKinney, Greg Allen, all
Jake
over
Bowers.
Jake Bowers, all over Esteban Florial. So it just kind of
Right.
goes to show how low the Yankees value him and how they kind of just view him as nothing at this point.
I think if you inject the Yankees with some truth serum, I think they would go back and be like, yo, we kind of messed it up. We should have given Florial a chance, which, yo, I don't know if we've ever addressed this, but how badly did I curse Jake Bowers? You know, when Jake Bowers stopped hitting, we ran a topic that was, I think, like, shout out one Yankee we're not talking about enough. And it was probably like maybe end of July or something. And he had like an above 800 OPS. It's like, yo, shout out Jake Bowers, who I've been kind of hyping up all year. Because, to his credit, he was legitimately good. Like when we first
And
got
I
first month
think
or
you
so.
you had a really hot take. You were like, Jake Bowers can be like the Yankees left fielder for the next 5 years or
Okay,
something like
okay.
that.
We got to understand how I tweet, though. Well, yes, I said that. That means I was excited about it and I could see him being a piece. When I said Jake Bowers is going to be with the Yankees the next 3 or 4 years, it doesn't actually like mean that. It's more so like me just being so ridiculously excited about a take that like I'm going to go to the extreme with it. But point being, no, like I was excited about Jake Bowers. With that said, like I completely fucking cursed him because ever since I said that, bro, I think he may have like 3 hits, probably 3 hits and 150 at bats since I said that like 2 months ago. So sorry, Jake Bowers, I definitely cursed you. But yo, last thing on the outfield topic, Juan Soto legit might get traded this offseason because the Padres aren't going to sign him long term. They're fucked up financially. Only has 1 year. I'm just putting it out there. It would not take that much to go out and get him. It wouldn't. It wouldn't take like a Volpe or a Jason. No,
Give me
those
a
guys are obviously on
package.
the table. I think you could. I mean, Peraza would probably be involved. I think you could do like a Peraza, Pereira
Schmidt.
Wells type deal. Maybe throw in a pitcher as well. Like it would not be a farm shattering move. it'd be significant. I mean, it'd be pieces we wouldn't like be thrilled to be like, here you go. But for Soto, for 1 year of him, I mean,
All right.
the Yankees have a package that could easily, the farm could easily produce a package to get Soto.
Let's say hypothetically this is the deal. You have to
Okay.
give up Peraza, Pereira, Schmidt, and not Wells, but don't the Yankee who's the other catcher that they have in the organization?
I mean, unless you're counting
Oh, okay,
Ben
wait.
Rice, but
Let's say Sweeney.
oh, Sweeney is the most easy trade. Sweeney has been trade bait since the second they announced his name in the
So you pull the
2024
trigger on
draft.
that?
Oh, what Peraza, Sweeney? I don't even know if you'd have to go that far
Peraza,
per se,
Sweeney,
but yes,
Pereira, Schmidt.
yes, 100%. I would do that 10
So
times
do
over,
I.
1,000%. Because like none of those players, bro, I'm losing sleep over. It's not like the only
Yeah.
times I will. I mean, what is my age-old thing, Ben? Like pick one prospect, put him aside, the rest are all on the table. Maybe I have two now with like obviously like Jason's not going anywhere. Volpe's not going to go anywhere.
Well, I don't view
But
Volpe as a prospect. I'm gonna be
no, no,
honest.
no.
Like
But
I
like
don't.
young
Yeah.
core pieces. Like I mean, even like Peraza's not a prospect either. But like like
No, but
young
I still
core
view him as
pieces.
such.
All right, well that's fine. Whatever. I would do that deal 100%, and I think
Yeah.
many people would. Like I want to like let people know at home like this isn't just like show bullshit talk. There is a possibility the Yankees at least have just like strong discussions with the Padres this offseason about Juan Soto.
The
It's
Yankees
possible.
love Juan Soto. They
That
love
would that
him.
our most exciting possible move this offseason that's legitimately possible outside of Yamamoto, because that would be hype. Juan Soto is possible. I'm gonna say that
I
right now.
no
Like, there's a
Juan
chance.
a deal for Juan Soto shits on the hype. Compared to like if they sign
I would
Yamamoto.
agree, but because it's a 1 year,
No, bro, fuck it. Like, sorry, Christina. Go out, trade for Soto, and extend him, dude. Like, I don't even need to see him play a game in pinstripes. Give him a fucking 10-year deal, bro. Like
yeah, I mean,
that's how big I am on Juan Soto. You go out, trade anybody you want for him, not named Dominguez or Volpe, and Juan Soto changes the game going into next season. If
oh,
Bellinger brings the excitement for the offense from a 4 to a 7, Soto brings it from a 4 to a 9.5, bro. He is a lineup changing player, and you have to do, if he's available this offseason, I don't want to hear the Yankees being like, oh, well, we could get him next year in free agency and not have to give up any prospects. Screw that, bro. Give up the prospects and extend him this offseason before anyone else could even get to him, bro.
I'm okay. So I'm obviously with you. If you were to get Soto, he'd be your left fielder, which defensively that'd be an issue, but with the bat, you make it work. And then you still have to find out what you're doing in center. I'll say this real quick about because some people have brought up, okay, you don't sign Cody Bellinger, and this is something that concerns me a little bit because I want Bellinger, and I do. A lot of people bring up like you sign Bellinger, you're out on Soto the next year. You know what? That instantly screams to me like flashing lights go off in my head. That logic, okay, if you sign Bellinger, you're not going to get Soto. What that leads in my head to what's going to happen is the Yankees don't get Bellinger in hopes of, going out and making a big splash
Yeah.
with Soto. They don't get Soto either. You end up with neither. So while I want Soto, like make sure you get one of them. And like they're not in the same stratosphere. I mean, like obviously, I shouldn't say same stratosphere, but like Soto is obviously the better fucking hitter, of course.
Yeah.
But like you can't go blank on one of these two. I think you have to get at least one of them for sure, like minimum. If not, I mean, what other options are? I mean, we'll talk about one, I guess, next topic, but like
Yeah.
realistically speaking, who can you get to be like get a significant piece in the outfield, like externally? I mean, you're gonna get Jason back. He'll ultimately probably be your center fielder or whatever. But it's Bellinger or it's Soto or it's like Mike Trout. Like, dog, there's
Yeah.
not that many significant options. And Soto might be the most realistic one.
Soto clears all of them by far. Like this is
Oh,
kind of turned into a Juan Soto love fest just because the more I think about it, the more it just makes so much sense.
yeah.
Also, you're looking at the guy as a human being. I think he would handle New York extremely well compared to a guy like Cody Bellinger, where the biggest fear for me is the Yankees go out and hand this dude a 5-year deal. Bang, he turns into what he was in LA and is like a 190 hitter and can hit air out of a plastic bag. That's my biggest fear with Bellinger. And that isn't even a thought in my mind when it comes to Juan Soto. Juan Soto is a franchise altering move.
Yeah. I mean, you would have to extend him.
He's the only player in Major League Baseball right
Honestly,
now
like
that I think can change the Yankees franchise. Shohei Ohtani was that before he had the injury and his arm's kind of like a ticking time bomb now. But I can't think of anyone else that is more franchise altering and available than Juan Soto.
see, franchise altering is tough until you guarantee an extension. And even that, I would just more say it's a huge move that instantly changes the narrative surrounding 2024.
Yeah,
With
it does.
Bellinger, I'll say this real quick. It concerns me, although I want him. I'm firm on that. I want Cody Bellinger. If he's getting over 200 mil, then that's where, like, say you're in the room with Bellinger and he's like, all right, I want 140. Like, I would give Bellinger 140. I would. But
I'm not giving him more than 3 years.
if no, I would give Bellinger 125 easier. Like 140, I would do. But if you start getting to, and we might be approaching this territory, which is like why it does freak me out a little bit. If he gets over 200, then I would instantly, all right, cut off these fucking talks immediately, call up the San Diego Padres, get Juan Soto. You have the prospects, you can do it, and then extend his ass for probably 400 million or so. But that's where it's an easy, like, okay, if you're giving Bellinger over 200 million, okay, fuck that. Go out and give Soto 400. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I only want Bellinger, assuming the contract is reasonable. But
All right.
ultimately, Soto's number one.
We're talking about the Yankees outfield and like plans for 2024. One rumor that's swirling, started by John Heyman of the New York Post. The Yankees could be interested in potentially trading for Mike Trout this offseason. Mike Trout does have a no trade clause. And he's been injury ridden the past few years, I guess we could say. But when he's on the field, he's one of the best players in Major League Baseball. And he currently has 7 years, $248 million left on his contract. I believe, I mean, two teams right now that you're looking at that he would probably waive his no trade clause for, I saw would be either the Phillies, his hometown team growing up, or the Yankees, obviously.
Yeah.
And I guess the question comes to mind because it's one of those things that the risk is so high because Mike Trout obviously is one of the best players in baseball, like we said, when healthy, but he's on such a downward trajectory when it comes to his health, and I can't really see that improving as he ages. But is this something you would even consider at this point?
Consider yes, like almost just out of respect for Trout. Like you have the conversation, you think about it, but realistically speaking, I mean, it goes past just like the injury prone situation because, well, that's obviously a problem. And some have been freak injuries. Mike Trout is, well, one of the best players of baseball, one of the most injury prone players in baseball. I mean, you look at the game totals over the last few years. I mean, 2021, he only played 36 games. Last year, while the production is there, 176 WRC plus, he was great, 40 home runs, only 119 games. This year, only 82 games. So, I mean, he's going to have for the third time in 3 years, play less than 100 games with a peak being 119. So the injuries are obviously a concern. But also looking at the play, I mean, he's a good hitter for sure. I mean, he's still great. But with the caveat of this season probably being affected a little bit by injuries, his numbers aren't amazing. 263 average, 367 OBP, 133 WRC plus, 18 homers in 82 games. So, I mean, even with like how, like the injuries are obviously concerned. Like looking at the player itself, like Mike Trout isn't exactly Mike Trout anymore. And for that money, 7 years, 245, it'd be much more of like this screams like early 2000s, like George Steinbrenner type move, and one that
Yeah.
you're not happy about. It feels like it would be for all the wrong reasons. Like you're paying a player for his third or for his 20s and you're getting his 30s, especially now, like we'd be entering, he'd be turning 33 next year.
Yeah.
Only way I would do it is if you could unload Stanton and bring on Trout, bet. Like obviously I would so swap Stanton for Trout. It I assume wouldn't be in the same deal. And Stanton wouldn't accept a deal to
Yeah.
LA, or at least with the Angels, I don't think. Maybe he would, but the Angels wouldn't accept that because you got 4 more years of Stanton, 7 more years for Trout. And at that point, they would just keep him. He is their face of the franchise. So no, I don't think I would do it. Unless you can unload Stanton somewhere, I don't think I would do it.
Yeah, and I think also unless the Angels eat a significant portion of that contract, because he's making 35 mil a year, I would assume that's pretty similar to what you could give Soto in a deal. So unless the Angels are eating like 10 to 15 mil a year, I don't see it making sense for the Yankees financially. And also, you would need Trout to be on the field in order for the contract to even make sense. And just based on recent history, it doesn't look like it's trending in that direction. So you look at the Yankees outfield options going into 2024. If you would ask me this 3, 4 years ago, I pulled the trigger on this 9 times out of 10. But I still think Soto is the way to go. And the more you look at the different options out there and weigh all the pros and cons, there's no one else that sticks out like Juan freaking Soto. And that's the name I have to keep going back to because he's just the guy, bro. And there's no rhyme or reason.
I think we're kind of formulating a narrative for this offseason now. It's the Juan Soto offseason. Let's go out and get
Yeah.
Juan Soto.
But then at the same time, like it all comes down to whether or not he's even available. Because I could totally see a scenario playing out where the Padres are like, this is our last year with Soto. We have this team that is built to win a World Series. This is our last year to try and do it until Soto becomes a free agent. So I
Totally.
could see them going all out and being like, you know what? Screw it. Let's bring in Ohtani, right? 1 year, 50 million. Like let's really try to go all out in Soto's last year. I think that's the more likely of the two scenarios. I think that's more likely than them going out and being like, Soto's a free agent at the end of the season. Like, let's trade him now and see what we can get
I
for
would
him.
agree, and I partially do agree, but dude, from everything I read, it's not just a matter of like, oh, the Padres are preparing to cut payroll. Like everything I read is that it's a financial nightmare over there. Like it's not like a thing where,
Well,
oh,
it's just one more year.
we're not going to be able to afford, but like, dude, like they're not going to re-sign Snell and like, well, Soto, you still have under control. You're not getting the big bag yet. I mean, arbitration wise, he's probably going to fetch near 20 mil, if not 20 mil plus. So I mean, it's not like he's making cheap money right now. The Padres need to cut finances apparently. So like, and if you're gonna lose Snell, I mean, they do have a good team surrounding him. And really cool tweet came out the other day. Shout out Feo if you're watching because he brought it to our attention. Somebody put out a tweet. It was like if you reversed 1-run games. Did you see that? It was like the standings if you reversed 1-run games. And we're 12 games over 500. So it was like every game you lost by 1 run is flipped. We'd be like 12 games over 500. The Padres too, I'm pretty sure would be like a wild card team. They're in contention. I mean, it's really weird actually the way their season has worked out because their offense is great. They have like one of the best offenses in baseball. Their pitching, I'm pretty sure, has been pretty damn good too. And I think
Yeah.
they have great defense. Like everything about the
Yeah. It's
Padres
weird.
measures out tremendously, just hasn't worked out. So with that said, and the financial situation, like I truly believe they'll at least be open to conversations this year in the offseason. So I hope you go out and get them. Difference with Trout is though he would play center field. He's still a center fielder. Soto would play left. If you were to guarantee like you get 130 games out of Trout for the next like let's just say for argument's sake, over the duration of the contract, next 7 years, you get 130 games. You know that. Does that like sway you at all?
Yeah.
Would you
But
be
I mean, I still think I lean Soto just because I think that at their peaks, especially at this stage in their careers, I think Soto's peak is higher.
well? The reason I
Um,
ask that is because it doesn't still for me. It's not just the injury prone thing with Trout. He's just not that great anymore. A
well,
133
that's why I'm saying I
plus.
think that Soto's better at his best.
Yeah. So the clear option is Soto for sure. And you'd have a little,
Also, bro,
you'd have to dump Stan because you'd have a little bit of number drama. They both were 27.
yeah, well,
Not that that means
who do
shit.
you think changes number? I guess Trout changes numbers in that case. You're
He's
not
good,
having
yeah,
Stan
but
be like, oh, you're changing your number, dude.
yeah. But like I said, and this is like my firm take on it. If you could unload Stanton, word. So in that case, we wouldn't have to worry about it.
No,
Like
Stan's not being unloaded. Stan's retiring as a Yankee.
it's not. There's no like even if we wanted him to, which dude, part of me does. Like I would like I wish like Stan's a problem, dude. Stan's a big problem. Like we got to
I
acknowledge it.
don't
Like
think so.
no,
I don't think
listen,
so.
like he can't run, he can't field. Like it's really getting to the point now where like
I
when he
think he
first
could
took
field.
Stan now is at the point where currently, and the only hope you can hold out on is that he returns to being an 800 plus OPS guy, which is possible. I still think that's possible. But we are now at the point with Giancarlo Stanton where he is exactly what you feared him turning into when you picked him up. And like Judge long term, he can't run, he can't field, and now guess what? For some reason, he can't hit. So he's gonna have to go to work this offseason. I don't know whether that's like going to drive line or the Yankees like put him in the cage every single day to like rework his swing. It's so weird. The dude, bro, his OPS is on the verge of falling below 700. I mean, it's like at like 715. He's getting below 200. Like Giancarlo Stanton is a problem, and it
Okay,
has to be fixed one way or another.
I'll say that he's a problem if next season is bad too. Like, but I can't. I'm ignoring 2023. I think going into 2024, if Stanton still has another down year offensively and is injury ridden again, then I'll be like, yeah, he's an issue. But I have such an abundance of confidence in him rebounding next year where I think we could be looking at like 30 plus home runs plus 800 OPS. And it doesn't really matter if he can't field that well or he can't run that well
You're
because he's
right.
going to
No,
be an
if
all
he
star
does that,
DH.
if he does, like that can a one like
That's just what I'm assuming will happen,
he's
though.
like a 120 OPS plus guy, 120 WRC plus guy. That can mask the poor base running, the bad fielding. But he's just not doing that right now, man. Like, he just the bats are looking bad. He's on the benefit of the doubt with me, which is like, I've talked about it before. Like, the way I'll talk about players struggling, like, there's certain guys, like, that I'll do with a little bit of nuance. Stan's one of those guys. I love Stan. He's done a good amount for this team and he's handled himself great. We know all that. So like I'm open to the idea of like give this guy another year. And I do think he could bounce back. I mean, beginning of this year, he was great till the injury. But since then, man, like this is the worst version by far we've ever seen of Stan. And like,
Okay, I get it. It's fine.
hey, I'm not. I mean, I love Stan, so I can say this shit. Like, you can't go into next year. This is more of a Yankee thing. This is a Yankee thing than a Stanton problem. I've said this before too. It's like,
Oh, I know.
like it's not Giancarlo Stanton's fault if you go into now year 6 with him still as a cleanup hitter. I mean, by this point, you would think, I mean, the dude's 34 years old. You have to go out and get more middle of the order bats. You can't just keep doing, bro. Like, and this goes for everybody. You can't go with like the DJ leadoff, Rizzo batting third, Stan fucking batting fourth. Like, it's not 2020 or 2019 anymore, yo. Like, these guys are not to be. This is a Yankees thing. This is their fault. Like, they're not to be like the faces of the lineup still. So, but I do believe in a Stan bounce back. 800 OPS is possible, but has to happen. Has to happen, or else he's a useless player or a bad player.
Agreed.
Impacting player. Do we have a topic 5?
I don't, unless you do.
No, I really don't.
I guess one thing I can mention in topic 5 is Gerrit Cole starts tonight, and he only has, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 starts left in what is looking like a Cy Young season. And I don't want anybody to be like, Pat, you're jinxing him. Unless Gerrit Cole really shits the bed the rest of the way, he has the Cy Young on lock.
I love it. You know,
but it's very exciting, and it's the main reason why I will sit down and watch the Yankees for the rest of the season, because we are witnessing greatness, and I love when we were able to witness greatness from a New York Yankee. It's a comparable feeling to how I felt watching Aaron Judge in 2022. I know not at the same historic level, but it's a great feeling to sit back and watch someone in pinstripes absolutely dominate the competition and being the best in the league at what they do. And I have that feeling with Gerrit Cole this season. We know I'm a Gerrit Cole lover. Hi Dan, like I want to make you hot cocoa and give you a hug. Like, I love everything about him. I love everything we've seen from him this season, and I'm very looking forward to the rest of his starts this year. So sit back and enjoy.
No, for sure. I think you put that very well. It's all but cemented now. I mean, Nathan Eovaldi, by the way, he doesn't even qualify for the ERA title. The next best guy is so you have Cole at 279. Next up is Sonny Gray, but it's not a comparison now. Cole just crossed the 200 inning mark. Sonny Gray is at 167. Or no, excuse me. Cole just crossed the 200 strikeout mark. He's gonna cross 200 innings. He's at 187 right now. By all measures, I mean, he's the Cy Young of the American League, and it's such a good career, man. Just looking at his MLB page right now, you see like first overall pick, and I'm just thinking like, in terms of like an athlete, he kind of has like the American dream going. I mean, what a perfect career. First overall pick, has a good career with the Pirates and gets traded to Houston, has 2 of like the best pitching seasons in the 21st century. He was phenomenal. Should have won a Cy Young in 2019. Verlander stole it from him, whatever. Yeah. Signs a big deal with the Yankees and has been just, for the most part, perfect so far. And yeah, man, he'll get that Cy Young, and that'll be good. That's a good something we could take away from the 23.
No, it's nice.
Like, that's cool.
I think looking back on the 2023 season, that's probably going to be the only bright spot. Will be Gerrit Cole's Cy Young victory, and it's nice because the last Yankee to win Cy Young, like we said, was what, Roger Clemens in 2000 or something.
Yep.
So it's a big deal, bro. It's a really big deal, and yeah, I couldn't be more happy with what we've seen this season. And I think the only thing that sucks is that we're not going to see him pitch in the postseason, and that's the thing that hurts the most.
Yeah.
But
now too, bro. Like, a reason to watch Gerrit Cole starts is like you just know there's going to be at least one cut scene in between innings of him screaming at fucking Ben Rortvedt. Just going at him, bro. It's the fucking most hilarious pitcher-catcher relationship of all time. I've never seen somebody. I think BBD said this or Joe said this. Like, I've never seen somebody hate their personal catcher so much. But like, you don't. You got 3 catchers on the roster, bro. This is the guy you choose. Why are you screaming him all the time? I think it's like a little brother type thing where it's like really trying to like whip him up into shape. It's like making sure he knows like this is how things go, and I'm gonna like ensure that you get it. That's the vibe I get. It's the most like aggressive form of constructive criticism I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, but I think that's why I love Cole so much, because it's like he's probably one of the few guys in baseball who could even do that, right? Like, hand select their catcher who is not good like offensively and is kind of like a nuisance in the lineup, and then kind of just ridicule them the whole game. Like, that's Gerrit Cole. And at the end of the day, like, he doesn't mean anything malicious by it. No. It's just he's such a perfectionist where it's like Rourke frames the ball a little bit poorly, or he calls for a pitch that Cole doesn't want to throw. Like, Cole will snap. That's what I love about him so much, is that he's such a gamer, is
Yeah.
that when he's on the field, he's a completely different person. And then in his post-game press conference, he's like, yeah, I made some bad pitches today, and that's just what happens. Meanwhile, bro, he went like
You know
7
what's
strong, gave
crazy,
up 1
boys, bro?
earned run.
On how he talked in his post-game interview when he makes bad pitches.
No, it is.
I
So
think
you give me a Cole impression then.
no, I've already done it before. Can't do it again. I don't do impressions per request, dude. I don't do that. I think what the Yankees should do, if you were to have a player involved in like the upper management and like make, you know how Judge is and like he
Yeah.
influenced Rodon signing next year or last year, they should like if you were to have a player, like I would want Cole up there, bro. I feel like Cole would just like really get shit down. Like we need to do this, this, and that, and if we don't, you guys are
Bro, I can imagine it like it was last year, I think, after, I don't know. He made like a speech or something. Do you remember that? I think
yeah.
after,
Gidry's right or broke Rick Gidry's record.
yes, he's like, that's exactly what I need. Like in the off-season, like sit around where you got like Cashman, Hal, and Cole walks in the room. He's like,
The tweet
2023.
funny as hell. It's like people are like ready to run through a wall after this Gerrit Cole speech. It's just like the clip was like, well, guys, it's fucking funny as
That's
hell.
exactly what I need, because like that's who he is, and then on the field it's totally different. But bottom line, what we've seen from him is the only bright spot of the 2023 Yankees, and I'm looking forward to watching.
There's other.
It's one of it's the biggest and the most impactful. That's the only one that I'm gonna look back on. Okay. So I'm looking forward to watching that MLB Network special where it's the Cy Young like thing, and they have the 3 faces of the videos on the screen, and Cole sitting
Family
there.
is so like cookie cutter, like
Cookie cutter, bro. White picket
like
fence. He's got the nice wife and the 2 kids. He probably has a boy and a
went to
girl.
college together too, bro. Like
It's
Amy.
it's the story, okay? And I'm looking forward to it. I love this man. I love him. I think the same way you love Judge.
I know we've said it before. I think it's absolutely
Yeah,
no, for
yeah.
sure. Let's get out of here though. It's been a good one.
Juan Soto, get Juan Soto.
We're gonna get Juan Soto, hopefully. We have a 3-game set in Pittsburgh, which they'll probably do a little Pirates do a little video tribute for Gerrit, which will be nice.
Oh, it's his first
3
time back in Pittsburgh. Oh, that's nice.
at least with the Yankees. I'm not sure if he was there with Houston or not, but yeah.
That's nice.
So 3 in Pittsburgh, and then I said it before, we could legit get in 3rd place. I mean, we're 6 back of the Blue Jays. We have 6 games left of them. No. Okay, here's why I care. One, I hate the fucking Blue Jays. Like I think in the AL East right now, at least, like they're number 1 rivalry for me. When the Yankees, I think it was like in the midst of the 8-game losing streak, I had so many Blue Jays fans like bring up old receipts to me. I think it was after Vlad said the Yankees were the easiest team to face, and I quote tweeted saying like, I'm gonna love when like the Blue Jays finish like miss the playoffs again this year, which they're probably about to do, which not enough people are talking about by the way, that like this Blue Jays core. I mean, the whole like last year was a trailer, this is the movie. Like they've been the most overhyped fucking piece of shit core.
Oh, I know.
Dude, it's
But we
ridiculous.
can't talk.
Yes, I know. We can absolutely talk, and this is why it's important, especially if we contribute to them missing the playoffs and we end up with like just around the same record. Like, who the fuck are you to talk shit to me? That's why it's important. Like,
Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything to me because we both we both suck.
okay, no, fair. Obviously, I'm not saying this is gonna like cleanse.
And we're worse right now.
This isn't gonna cleanse the 2023 season for me. Okay, but if we all end up missing the playoffs, and what I'm saying here is that we get into the same little region, Blue Jays fans can't talk any shit. Is my point. Obviously, it doesn't cleanse the 23 season by any means, but. Do I want us to possibly have a better record than the Blue Jays or just not be worse than them or have us both miss the playoffs rather than just us? Yes, absolutely.
No, I'd rather finish in last place.
With the Blue Jays, that makes no fucking sense. That just doesn't make sense.
No, I don't care, bro. I don't care if the Blue Jays make the playoffs. Like I could care less.
The Blue Jays, yeah. See,
I genuinely don't care if the Blue Jays make
okay, yes, I know. You're gonna root for the Phillies. You get your Phillies jersey on a bit.
Yes, I'm rooting. I'm going to Philly, bro. I'm hopping on the train. I'm going to Philly with the Philly fanatic, rooting for Bryce Harper. I'm gonna buy myself an Aaron Nola jersey. I'm gonna buy one of those Philly fanatic headbands. I'm going to immerse myself and become a Philadelphian. I'm not gonna have a cheesesteak because I don't eat red meat, but I'm going to have the time of my life in Citizens Bank Park. And when they had a walk-off home run in Game 3 of the wildcard series to send themselves to the NLDS, I'm going to look at that bell flip-flop in center field, and I'm going to have the time of my life.
You disgust me, dude. I'm not even kidding. That's borderline pathetic.
No, it's fun, bro. Postseason baseball is fun. That's just
you're gonna look at the bell and you're gonna have the time of your.
I'm gonna look at the bell, flippity floppity, and I'm gonna say, "Damn, this is cool."
Well, folks, socials, Pat, where can they find you?
TikTok, Twitter, at Unhinged Patrick, Instagram at True Hennessy.
Thanks for the shorts, by the way. Shout out Focal, guys. Go get yourself some. These are gorgeous. There's a bunch of other stuff as well. Code Yankees Avenue, 15% off. Yankees Avenue Instagram, Yankees Avenue on YouTube. Subscribe if you are new. And yeah, maybe Dan and Rourke on Twitter. I'll tweet once a month. We'll see you guys next time. Let's go, Yankees.
Her body's going like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting, I remember. But we say we all fine, we all